Makes more sense for our environment in the long run. And I, as the consumer, say, uh-huh. And so the house you're designing costs more than the house he's designing? I buy his. And you say, but what about the planet? And I say, well, I'm not getting, that doesn't figure into my calculations. I'm simply a selfish person. And indeed, actually, all of us are.
A different level now with the idea that sustainability is somehow different than the types of services we used to have to offer. Now, we're a firm that has basically been practicing sustainable architecture regardless of calling it that through its entirety, and certainly for my 13 years as an architect, that's how I've practiced. But it's obviously gotten a lot more press, being green or being sustainable or whatever else.
How just architecture is like more inherently sustainable as it is them.
Big balconies, high ceiling, dissipates the hot air goes and comes out. And we try to, at every room, have clear story windows, which are able to be opened to let air flow through.
So you start to see this, contraction of space requirements, expansion back to contraction. So there's this fluctuation of what type of spaces you actually need while you're living in your home as well.
We all get our tools. We get all the parts delivered to the site, right? The engine block, the axles and everything, and then we think, well, let's see, how do we want to do this? I guess we'll make a little tent over here. You'll work with the axles, and you'll be working with the frame. And anyway, 2 or 3 months later, we'd maybe have a car. It probably wouldn't work very well, but we'd have a car. And then our next door neighbor said, God, that's great, I'd like to have a car too. Then we start the whole one at a time process again. Well, you can see the efficiency of doing things that way is actually industrially preposterous. And it hasn't changed much at all in the last 100 years. And when you think about how the rest of industry has changed, this is ridiculous.
I just want to ask you 2 questions. First one, what does being green mean to you?
Being energy efficient and recycling and just doing anything that betters the environment.
Living within your means and also kind of being environmentally friendly.
Being green, I would say, try not to, waste resources and try not to. I mean, at our school, recycling is a big part of being green, but we don't have as many opportunities as I'd like to have here.
You connect being green to sustainable architecture, things that you could do.
I would connect that by things you would do. Maybe I know I've seen some of the buildings over at MIT. They actually there's something with the panes in the glass that you can do to reduce the amount of sunlight, so you can cut down on cooling costs. I guess really just innovations like that and better insulation. Really things that get rid of energy loss, I guess.
Sustainable architecture, I would have to say that it's got to be able to adapt to anything, kind of designing for future use and just being able to keep a building for the future and have it not just be a generational building, being able to adapt, I would say.
Sustainable architecture? Well, actually, I was just in a class where they presented on these houses that they have, and they're completely recyclable, and they have them all over the world, and so the houses are actually made out of, cans and plastic that's all recycled, and it's completely sustainable, and it was really interesting. So something like that, if they expanded on that, I think that would be really cool.